Beck's Blue non-alcoholic beer. To prepare myself for what might turn into a rant if my Phil Spencer video was only to go by. And if you haven't seen my Phil Spencer video reaction on his advice on choosing estate agents, check it out. There's a link in the notes.
When it comes to moving home, there are good, bad, terrible and great estate agents. So it's essential that you know how to tell them apart. Charlie has been working with agents since 1999 and there's nothing he doesn't know about how they work. In these videos, he shares everything you need to know to get your home sold quickly for the best possible price. Let's get you moving.
If you Google sell my home fast or go on YouTube and sell my home fast, one of the first videos that comes up is by a YouTuber, an English YouTuber called Norris, who's got 640,000 subscribers. And her video has achieved 91,000 views. This is proper clickbait in terms of her titling and also her video content, which is why I wanted to take it down, because she does not provide any advice on how to sell your house in one day. She simply explains how she made her house look, all right? But there's a lot more involved in actually getting a house sold. Nobody ever sold a house in one day. We're going to take that down too. Let's get into the video.
Hi guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and tricks on how we sold our house in just one day and in one showing.
I already don't even know where to begin and she's only said one thing, okay? How we sold our house in one day. Shall we just talk about what her definition of selling a house means? Because if it means getting an acceptable offer from someone who viewed your house that day, which is what she's saying, then she hasn't sold her house in one day. There was an awful lot of preparation needed to get to the point where she could have people to come view the house. And there's an awful lot that happens after that before the exchange of contracts happens, completion, and keys get handed over and money in the bank. But she's a popular YouTuber. This is how she gets her followers, right? By letting you think that maybe it's possible to sell your house in one day. It isn't. Let's just keep going.
Couldn't believe how quickly it sold, and there are a few key things that we did that really made a difference.
Couldn't believe how quickly it sold. Now, anyone who's been in the industry a long time will tell you that when a seller says that, it's usually a sign that they could have got more money for their house. Almost always. You accept the first offer you get from someone and don't check any competing offers, you could almost definitely have got more money. So, okay, Emily, you sold your house to the first person that made you an offer. How do you know whether or not you could have got more? Now, you don't talk about the price you actually achieved for your house, nor do you talk about whether that deal actually went through. I'd love to know. If you're watching this, I will tag you so that you can watch my response to your video. I think you owe your viewers a bit more detail about exactly how this went down.
I hope you enjoy these practical tips, and if you're new to my channel, I'd also love you to subscribe. We are about to move house, so I have so much moving stuff, deep clean.
Right. The rest of the video is a lot of advice on how to prepare your house. So, and this is all good, right? There is absolutely, the one part that Emily has got right here is presenting her house immaculately for the presentation in the photographs. Now, she also chooses to take her own photographs. Let's just go on.
And declutter everything in your home. Hopefully this goes without saying, but it is worth doing. A walk to go too crazy.
Make necessary improvements. Yes, that always helps. I agree with that advice in terms of the property preparation. This is a bit like, again, Phil Spencer. It's like, you know how to make a house look good, but let's just talk about what else is actually involved in selling it.
This is not the time to redo your bathroom or something like that, but if a room needs repainting, then definitely tackle that. My next tip is to consider taking the photos yourself.
Right. There's a caveat to this. I wouldn't say don't take the photos yourself, but I would say only take the photos yourself if you think you can do a better job than anyone else, because shortcutting on photography is definitely going to affect how many people click on your property on whatever websites is advertised, okay? If you've got a great camera, if you've got a good eye for photography, and if you know how to set the rooms up like a professional photographer would, absolutely take the photographs yourself and take lots of them. I agree with her point on that. But only if you think you can do a better job than either the agent would do with their equipment or if the agent uses a professional photographer. Now, often it is possible to take better photographs than an agent takes, depending on which agent you use. Some agents have shocking photography on their properties, but most agents, especially the better agents, do take a lot of pride in the photography on their photographs. The ones who use professional photographers, unless you are a passionate photographer with equipment and skill, you are unlikely to get better quality photographs than the professional photographer that the agent might use. There are circumstances when I might say take the photographs yourself.
For your house listing, rather than having the estate agents do it for you. That's what we did, and we actually only used our iPhone, but there is such a good camera.
Yeah. It is possible to take better photographs with an iPhone, unless you have the new iPhone 12, which really isn't extraordinary at taking photographs, better than some professional cameras.
Whereas it would be quite difficult to do that room by room with an estate agent or a photographer. We also edited the photos ourselves. All we did was really brighten them up and sharpen them up as well.
Right. So if she knows how to edit photographs, then yes, that puts you at a perhaps better likelihood of being able to take the good photographs. The photographs she's showing on here, they're good, but they're not great. But they got the results you wanted, so it was enough. Some people don't have time to do all that though, and you might just want the agent to take care of it.
Tip is to put rooms back to their original use. So if you're
That is good advice.
now using the dining room as a gym or your spare bedroom as an office, put it back to what it was meant to be used for so that people can really imagine it and see that it's actually a third bedroom. One thing that we did, for instance, is our fourth bedroom was a very small toddler room, and we had a toddler crib in it, but we decided to get rid of the crib and buy a very cheap full-size single so that when we had viewings.
Yeah, good advice. Don't dispute any of that. Put the rooms back to their original intended use. It will make a difference in an impression, so that's good advice.
Next up, let's talk about house viewings. If at all possible, and if you have the time, consider doing the house viewings yourself. That's what we did because
This is, in my opinion, bad advice. If you are keen to get the maximum possible price for your property, okay? We don't know what price she got, and we don't know whether she could have got a better price. But buyers are often very afraid to ask you difficult questions, embarrassing questions about your house, which they would be comfortable asking an estate agent or a professional viewing assistant that's doing the viewings instead of the seller. Secondly, you might genuinely find it emotionally difficult answering questions people make about your house, questioning your taste, your style, the use of the property. Thirdly, if it comes to negotiation, it's very, very difficult negotiating directly with someone else. It's much better to have a third party to negotiate, especially someone that does it for a living. If you're doing the viewings yourself, you are likely to give away your hand. I suspect the buyer in this case got themselves a bargain because went round there was no agent. The seller, Emily, did the viewings herself. The buyer knew what he was doing, closed the deal, got a great price before anyone else got a chance to see the property or view it. She did do open house viewings, and I agree with that. Showing a few people around at a time does show that there's competition, and that's not a bad idea. But she doesn't say which agent she used. She does say she listed with an agent, though.
We felt that no estate agent was going to know the house as well as us or know all of the key features. And another big tip is to hold an open day or an open house.
Yeah, that's good advice, but get the agent to do it for you.
That was coming actually asked another viewer which house was ours. So it kind of they could see that there was also some competition. Next up, let's talk about the staging of your home for viewings. You want to go through your house and neutralize it and depersonalize it as much as possible.
Good advice. Good advice. Selling your house with an agent and make it smell. Whoops, that's a I think that's going to say make it smell
You could light
great.
some candles or spray
Yes.
a room scent. I know that some people like to make coffee or bake bread, but I felt like that might be a little bit contrived. So I just made it smell nice, and I also put on some soft music in the background, just some ambient.
Okay, that's all pretty generic stuff. I don't disagree with any of that, but
The front of your house and what it looks like. That is going.
that's good advice. First impressions on the outside of your house. Do whatever you can to tidy it up. I'm going to just stop there and just say this. Selling your house in one day, it might be in one day from when the agent put it on the internet or in one day from when the first viewing came, okay? But what did not happen, viewers, I can assure you, is Emily waking up and going, oh, I think I'm going to sell the house today. And by the end of the day, she had an offer agreed and the house sold. That didn't happen, okay? In order to get the house ready to go on the market, she's done days of work preparing the photographs and taking the photographs. She would have had to talk to a bunch of estate agents before deciding which one to use, probably. I mean, she maybe just went to one, but I doubt that. Although possibly she did do that, which is why she sold it so quickly and didn't hold out for a better price. And what she hasn't referred to at all is, number one, whether or not the offer from that buyer actually went through to completion, because there is a 1 in 3 chance that an agreed sale falls through for reasons beyond everyone's control. Secondly, she didn't say how long that part took, okay? And that buyer might have been a cash buyer. and might have been able to move very quickly, and they might have exchanged within a few weeks if Emily had found a new house. But more often than not, the buyer is someone who's got to sell something else first. So Emily doesn't talk about, oh, we had to wait for the buyer to sell their house, and that took 3 to 6 months. So I would love to invite Emily to respond to the question, how much time did you take preparing your house before the viewings happened and before you chose the agent, number one? And how much time after the offer was agreed did it take to get that property transaction completed, if indeed it did complete with that first buyer? I think you owe it to your viewers to answer those questions if they're going to be taking your advice. Anyway, guys, watch out for some very, very shoddy advice out there on the internet. Great advice on how to prepare the home itself from Emily. Otherwise, I think that's a bit misleading. You can't sell your house in a day. If you do want to find out how to sell your house fast, please do go and check out my video, How to Sell Your House as Fast as You Can. I'll put a link to it in the notes of this video. Thanks very much. Good luck selling your house. And watch out for the clickbait videos. Bye.
If you need to find an agent, why not give Charlie's website a try? Just go to bestagent.co.uk and click Find Your Agent. It's the easiest way to find the one that's best for you.
If you've got that many people watching your channel and they actually trust your advice, you have a little bit of responsibility to check that the advice you're giving isn't unintentionally bad. I don't doubt for a minute she intended to give good advice to all of her viewers. This is where, the internet is full of poor advice from people who have a little bit of knowledge but not enough. And if only there was better advice out there on the internet. Well, hopefully, Moving Home with Charlie will help you out.